Hello people, so I'm down the old beach today. Can't see any seagulls. I seem to find more seagulls when I'm working in my polytunnel than I do when I'm down the actual seaside, but never mind. So anyway, if you've been following my channel for a while, you will know that I've done some profile videos on Monty Don, Bob Flowerdew and Beth Chateau, three very successful and influential gardeners. And whilst someone commented on the Monty Don video, they would like to see a profile about myself. So I thought, okay, and I asked people on a subsequent video would they like this, and a few of you said yes. So here we go. So right, why do I grow my own food? Well, so many reasons, but one reason I do it, obviously, is because I like to have my own food to pick, and I think that is so good for society as a whole. It's nutritional. You can learn so much doing it. It's so important, because I'm not going to go into exact details, politics and stuff, because this is not the place to do that. But at the same time, there's a lot of issues going on at the moment about trade, cost, availability, being unknown, and I think in order for us to be stronger against certain possibilities or not, whatever the case may be, to bolster one's own fortitude and one's own sort of self-sufficiency, if you will, can only be a good thing. So, for instance, a lot of lemons into the UK are imported. We know this. You can grow them here. Hey, you don't want to get wet feet. But the climate does not ideally lend itself to growing things like lemons. Well, I'm planning to buy myself I think it's either a yuzu or yuzo tree, and this can be used as a lemon substitute. Sounds like a laugh, but if anyone go, oh blimey, going on about lemons as if that's but being able to grow stuff that's a little bit different, I just think that's so important for us, stuff that we can do, because if we don't, and we're totally reliant. Now, some of my older viewers will remember this. During World War II, when food wasn't as plentiful, I remember reading somewhere that what they called red currants were used as a citrus substitute. And think about that. But whereas now, should the supply of lemons, get stopped or whatever, for whatever reason, and we can grow yuzus here and grow, our own hardy citrus down to -10 degrees C, just think of the huge possibilities of that. Now, on both sides of my family, there are a lot of gardeners. My great-grandfather apparently used to walk behind a plough, the Shire horse, and this wasn't really that long ago. My other great-grandfather was very much into grapes and had a Pride and Joy grapevine. Maybe that's where I get this sort of thing from. And it's kind of in me, both sides of the family, there's a lot of gardeners. My late grandmother used to grow a lot of her own flowers and dry them and sell flower arrangements. And it's just such an amazing subject to do. And my other grandmother, who's thankfully still with us, is very much into flower growing. And one of my grandfathers, who is again thankfully still with us, he's very much into growing his own veg as well. So yeah, I remember being brought up around all of this, and it's very sort of within me, and my parents as well are very much into it. So yeah, so there you go. So now you know where it comes from, really. Basically it's a family trait that we love gardening, so there we go. Now, when I was growing up, I never really made the most of the education system, partly because a lot of it, to me, from the start, just didn't ring true. There's I'm not going to knock it too much, because as far as, it could be a lot worse, and at the end of the day, there's only a certain amount of money and resources and everything that can be put into the education system, and ultimately, my opinion, largely, with most people, is you'll do as well as the effort you put in regarding education. I'm not saying everybody can be a member of Mensa or be, a mega achiever academically or whatever, because to be a mega achiever in anything, my opinion is you acquire a special gift or talent with that, or at least that's what I believe. But I think everyone can at least improve, or at least you know, do their best. I didn't do my best in the education system, and a lot of this is because a lot of it with me just didn't ring true, okay? It just didn't seem, I couldn't see the point of it, and that wasn't put in me, you know, by the school system. It didn't inspire me. But as I got older, I started to learn the benefit of learning, and whereas before to me it was an uncool thing, now I love learning. And you know, something as simple as learning, you know, a basic riff in a song, you know, a guitar riff, or learning about how to, you know, when I learned how to take my own cuttings from grapes and berries, my goodness, how amazing. And I learned a lot of this from the internet, and of course books, you know, there's books as well, library, word of mouth, talking to people. And I think learning and encouraging learning is one of the most important things that we can do. And one way I do this is by just showing on my channel what I'm doing regarding gardening. Of course, the subject is gardening, but you know, for those who are interested in gardening and, you know, don't come from a particularly how would one describe it, wealthy background or well-educated background, just a normal person like myself who wants to give it a go at growing, you know, you can look at my channel, look at other people's channels, and at the end of the day, if people didn't share stuff on YouTube, just think about, you know, there wouldn't be the information there. Of course, there's a lot of garbage on there as well, we do know this, but I just think that sharing stuff, information and learning is so important. And I think one of the people that got it right was, remember that chap, Michelle Thomas, the one who did the language courses, The Language Master. Check that one out, by the way, The Language Master. Type it into YouTube and watch it. And there's only a very limited amount of information on him, but he, cut a very long story short, he created a load of DVDs on how to learn languages. And you want to listen to, if you're not interested in learning languages, at least listen to his approach. And he said learning should be fun, you know, it shouldn't be an effort. And I think this is very true. And if this can be put into people's minds, the potential of learning and where it can take you, whether it's traveling to another part of the world to, you know, to start a new life, or whether it's to play, I don't know, play the piano to a decent standard. It all comes from learning, you know. And there are people with gifts, so I accept that, but you know, not everybody can excel, you know, but most people can improve. And I think really that's what most of us can strive for. It's just a constant improvement. You know, I know full well that it's highly unlikely I'm ever going to have acres and acres of garden with heated polytunnels so I can grow all the exotics I want, so that I can grow so many sweet corn plants that I want, you know, so I can have a huge banana and mango tree in a heated polytunnel, so I can grow my own coconuts, blah de blah. You know, I can go on about this all day, yeah, you know, what I'm not going to have or unlikely to have, but what I like to focus on is what I can have, and to be realistic about it, and to just do my best in what I can do. And you know, if I've got a 3 meters by 2 meters polytunnel, which I've got, I'm very grateful for it. And you know, some of the older viewers out there, you will remember a time when, even I can remember when I was younger, things just weren't available like they are now. I mean, if you said to someone, I don't know, go back to in the 80s, you know, you could just buy a persimmon tree and grow it, or you can just buy these new varieties of grapes, like my variety of grapes from California. What's that one called? Autumn Royal. You know, that I can just buy that off the internet, it gets delivered to my door, and then I can have my own beautiful Californian grapes growing in my backyard. You know, just think of how beautiful and powerful this is. And partly that's what a lot of it is with me. It's about encouraging myself and people to do their best, because ultimately that's all, you know, really that's all we can do, is just try our hardest and appreciate what we've got. You know, I remember years ago, I used to work in the health service a long time ago, and there was a lady there who had really ill health. I mean, seriously, man, nearly everything you could think of. I don't want to go into it because it's a sad story, but she used to grow her own tomato plants in a wheelchair, you know, and she'd wheel herself around where she lived with these raised beds, and she'd be tying up her own tomato plants, you know, and she absolutely, you know, she absolutely loved doing it. And it was, you know, just, she was doing her best, and that's, to me, that's what a lot of this is about. So a little bit more about YouTube. So if you just think of the sheer power of a basically free platform for sharing information. Now I remember, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 years ago, something like that, when YouTube was a new thing, you know, and it was like, whoa, you can just put videos on here and you can learn and watch other people's videos. I mean, just think of that. If you still tell some of the older generation about this, they still can't believe it, because, you know, the information before, people used to get from television, you know, used to get it from newspapers, blah de blah. Now, not every aspect of YouTube or the